Hi, welcome back, guys. I'm at CES 2018 here with Chris Silva. Is that how you say it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He's with Intel to talk about some of their desktop CPUs. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
You bet.
First of all, I think we can all admit here, no matter which side of the fence you're on, 2017 was a big year for desktop CPUs. Can you comment a little bit on that from Intel's perspective?
Absolutely, Pierre. Yeah, we had a number of really big announcements this year. Earlier on in the year, we announced a new X series line of CPUs where we brought up to 18 cores of CPU performance. And this product line is really for people that we call megataskers. So they're people who are doing multiple things at once. For instance, if you're a gamer and maybe you want to game in really high performance while at the same time you want to record your gameplay, and then maybe you even want to stream it out at the same time. So these are the kind of platforms that can handle those multiple tasks at the same time. And also, if you just want really raw, high-end CPU performance, it's a great platform for that. Mm-hmm. And then later on in the year, we came out with our new 8th gen processor line. So we have our new 8th gen core processors.
Oh,
and
sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Cut. We'll start it all over. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so later in the year we came out with our 8th gen core processors, and the thing that's exciting about those, of course, they're faster, but they also have now up to 6 cores of processing power. So our Core i7 has 6 cores of processing power. So pretty exciting performance boost for people that are buying Intel-based PCs this year.
Mm-hmm. So something I didn't hear you mention here, but that was still part of 2017, was in January the 7th gen Kaby Lake desktop CPUs were released, and so it was kind of interesting and surprising for me to see, at least, that you released 2 generations of desktop CPUs in a single year, yep. And especially the difference between the two. I mean, you added 2 extra cores, right, and all the other improvements. So could you talk a little bit about why you might have done that, a little bit behind Intel's thinking there?
You bet. Sure. That's a great question, Pierre. So a lot of time, making a new processor takes a long time. So, I mean, it takes up to 5 years for us to kind of lock down what features we're going to deliver and then actually turn that into product that we're shipping out to an end customer. So, last year we were very fortunate that our new 8th gen processors, we were actually able to pull those in and bring them to the market earlier than we had originally planned. So, we hadn't originally thought that we were going to be launching 7th gen in the first part of the year and then 8th gen later on in the year. But since the processors were ready, and we never want to hold back performance, right? So we were able to bring it to market. Also, our 8th gen processors that we launched later in the year, we only were able to come out with a limited set of them. So if you were looking for an 8th gen core processor in December timeframe, they were harder to find. So it was kind of a limited supply. It was more at the high end and not as broadly available. I think you'll find even throughout 2018, our partners will still be selling a lot of our 7th gen CPUs as well, as our 8th gens kind of ramp up in volume and production.
So could you tell me a little bit about why there's not just a limited supply, but also just a limited amount of SKUs? We only have a few models, and we only have Z370 motherboards, nothing lower tier. Could you tell me anything about why that is?
Well, yeah, like I said, we kind of, the product was available earlier, so we wanted to get it out in the highest performance segment. Our Z series chipsets provide the highest performance on the platform, so it's a great match for higher performing CPUs. And we'll have a broad line that'll be out a little bit later this year. So, watch for that. But pretty soon you're going to be able to get our 8th gen CPUs at all price points, and we'll have multiple chipset variants that'll support it. We're working hard on getting that product out as well. It just wasn't ready yet. The Z370 product was ready first, so we decided not to wait. We wanted to give those performance buyers that option right away. But our broad mainstream product line will be out a little bit later this year.
Mm-hmm. So X299 was also released in the summer, up to 18 cores, but it was kind of a staggered release. Would you say that's the same reasons as the staggered release we're seeing here now with Coffee Lake? Just you want to ship out what you have ready when it's ready and make sure people can get what they can get? Or is there some other reasoning behind that?
Yeah, great question, Pierre. So at the Computex timeframe, when we announced our Z299 platform, we were able to announce our new i9 brand. And as you probably know, our Core i9 comes in a 10-core product. It's kind of like the baseline Core i9. And then, of course, it'll go all the way up to 18 cores. So once again, we didn't want to wait. We had the 10-core product and ready, and it was available to start release. You know, that market is a smaller unit market than our Coffee Lake market, so we don't have to, kind of build ahead as much as we might if we were doing a broad, like a Core i7 product launch. So we were able to get that to market and do it in a way that allowed us to get some of the, top performance with the Core i9. And then over time, we brought out the 18-core. The 18-core just wasn't ready yet for volume production when we launched, but we felt like Computex is such an important show, and it's an important industry event, and we wanted to get the i9 product out there in the marketplace. So that's why we went first with that. And then over time, we were able to bring out the other variants up to 18 cores, you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Now, kind of building on that, and this time without giving too much away, obviously, what can we expect from Intel CPUs here in 2018?
Well, I think we've got a great lineup, right? So I think over the course of the year, you're going to see our 8th gen processors become more and more of the volume. We will still be selling, of course, our 7th gen processors. And then, later on in the year, we may have some performance surprises for you. So, stay tuned. But, we're always working on trying to drive more and more performance. We try to do that on, roughly a yearly cadence. So, it's probably easy to predict that we're going to do something in the year. But our 8th gen product line, we think, has got a great performance value. And like you mentioned, we're still kind of ramping it in the volume price point. So you'll see that transition happening over 2018.
Well, it's very exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, if we could segue over to Intel Optane memory, could you talk a little bit about Intel's goal with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. We introduced Optane memory to the market in 2017, and Optane memory is a little bit confusing, I think, for people to understand. The way that it works, it's a really high performance storage technology that has latency performance of memory, but it has the persistence of a NAND-based technology. So, DRAM has very low latency, but it's not persistent. So if you turn the power off, you lose it. And that's why when you turn your system off and it has to write to disk, and so it's a very slow operation. Whereas Optane as a memory has latency like memory, but it is a persistent storage like a NAND-based storage. So it gives it a really unique characteristic that fits in between a storage type product and a memory type product. So our initial use of Optane, at least in the PC market, our initial use of Optane memory is to use it as an accelerator for spindle-based storage. So there's still a lot of people who want the capacity of a hard disk drive, but if you've ever used a system with an SSD or with NAND-based storage in it, you know how painful it is to be on a hard drive, right? And in fact, I call it hard drive hell. And I feel like we need to save people from hard drive hell. So SSDs are relatively expensive for the cost per gigabyte on an SSD. So by marrying Optane memory technology with a spindle-based drive, you're able to get the responsiveness of an SSD for almost all of your tasks, but you get the storage of a spindle-based drive, the storage cost per capacity. So it's really a nice mix of being able to use a single large, data volume, like a 2 terabyte or 4 terabyte hard drive, but accelerate that with the Optane memory, and all of a sudden now you get the responsiveness of an SSD-based system, but you have the capacity of a solid or a spindle-based system. And the other thing Optane memory does is, I don't know about you, but I have to support a lot of my friends and family, right? Because I'm like the technology guy in the house. And today a lot of systems are sold with a small SSD and then a spindle-based drive, because buyers don't want to just have 128 gig storage, they want more than that. And while that's great for your initial experience, what happens is, a year later, people like you and me get calls and they're like, hey, I ran out of storage. What do I do? My system's going to crash. So Optane memory makes it all seamless. It's one drive. So, my mom, she doesn't have to worry about, a C drive or a D drive or an E drive. It's just there and it works and it's very seamless. So that's another advantage of Optane memory. So you get both the SSD responsiveness, you get the storage of a spindle-based drive, and you get the simplicity of a single data storage. So it's a really exciting technology. it's something that Intel's very heavily invested in. It's a brand new media, and it took us over 10 years to develop this media. And so you're going to see us use this in a lot of interesting and unique applications as we move forward. So it's a long-term investment for us, really exciting. And we think that in a desktop or a notebook computer provides a great value to accelerate that storage as kind of step one with this new technology.
Intel's had similar technologies in the past where you could plop in an SSD and then Intel software or hardware could sort of use it as a cache,
right,
so to speak. What would you say is the main benefit of using Optane over that form of Intel technology?
Great question. So we've been working on this for a long time. We've had other products, and there are other products in the marketplace that do similar caching. I think the thing that's unique is that the extremely low latency of Optane memory gives you that responsive performance that it's a lot more responsive than even a standard SSD. So when you're caching data, obviously you can't cache everything. So certain important files, of course, will be cached, but our caching technology is actually at a bit level instead of at a file level. So we can even cache, important bits that are frequently used of a file set without having to cache the whole file. So the combination of this caching technology that Intel's been maturing over the last 10 years, and then the very low latency of the Optane memory is what makes it a very fast experience.
Okay. What can you say as to the future of Optane, especially seeing larger, more independent drives instead of just this combination?
Yeah, one thing that we're going to do in the future is right now Optane memory is a boot device only, so you install it on your boot device. Soon we'll be improving the feature set so that it'll work with a data drive as well. So imagine you have a system with 3 or 4 data drives, like probably you as a content creator, you value having multiple storage sets, right? Oh, yeah. So you'll be able to soon pair Optane memory with each one of your data drives so that it'll work on all of your data drives instead of just your boot drive. So that's a way that we'll kind of expand the capability of the technology. And then, of course, we have a lot of really cool ideas going forward that I can't really talk about. But you can imagine if you have a very fast, persistent, very low latency memory technology, that you can do some interesting things to help solve some of the speed problems we see with storage today.
If there's one thing that you could see happen in 2018 with storage in general from Intel, not necessarily Optane, what would it be?
Well, storage is a very important business for Intel. We make SSD-based products. We have a wide range of SSD-based products. We make a lot of data center storage products as well, where we really focus on kind of the different problem sets that a data center would have over the consumer. But we're going to continue to invest and grow that business. I think it's proven by number one, our market share in the market has continued to grow, and then our investment in new technologies like Optane memory show that we're driving hard in making storage a key deliverable from Intel. Storage and memory, key deliverable from Intel. So expanding beyond just the processor and the chipset, and bringing that that integration and kind of engineering focus that Intel has into the storage and memory market.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. It was a pleasure.
Great. Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you.
Yep.
If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to this channel to see all of our CES 2018 coverage. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.